I don't even know who he is.
That's what Joy Behar claimed, live on national television. But within seconds, Greg Gutfeld hit back with a roast so brutal, the studio lights practically dimmed themselves out of embarrassment. She rolled her eyes. He rolled out the verbal guillotine. And what followed wasn't a debate. It was a massacre in HD.
Last week, Joy Behar accused Elon Musk of being pro-apartheid, but then begged him afterwards not to sue. Musk lawyers have yet to comment because they're still checking to see if it's legal to sue a cow.
Shots fired.
Just a legal question. I don't know why it's so upsetting. I don't make the rules in this country. All right.
It's about the view. It's become like a medical hospital that displays human misfailure. Like it's like here, let's look at this political oddity. It's like it really is like the left-wing equivalent of a carnival sideshow, except instead of bearded ladies and fat clowns and two-headed cows. Well, let me rephrase that. But The View is a victim of the sunk cost fallacy. How can you now speak the truth when for years you've been telling lie after lie after lie? Now you're carrying this big bag of rocks around you because it's too harmful for their ego to admit that we really were dishonest. And they could be honest. All they would have to say is, look, we hate Trump so much. We were willing to lie about Joe Biden because we felt he was preferable. We thought our lying and our cover-up was on your behalf. Just say that. You're still scum, but at least you're honest scum.
It started like any other daytime segment.
The usual banter, a couple of spicy jabs, the kind of sparring Joy Behar has mastered over decades on air. But then, the tone changed. The laughs turned nervous. The comebacks missed the mark. And the one-liners that usually hit like lightning landed flat. Joy, the queen of daytime dominance, the woman who steamrolled senators, shaded presidents, and outwitted co-hosts with a wink and a wisecrack, froze. The pause? Barely a second, but in TV, that second was everything. You could feel it, the shift, the way her eyes darted, searching for a line that never came, the silence, loud, and sitting across from her, Greg Gutfeld, smiling, still, dangerous, because Gutfeld wasn't just tossing jokes. He was playing chess, and Joy had no countermove. Her armor, that sarcasm-coated wall she's worn like a crown, cracked. And behind it, vulnerability. For the first time, we weren't watching Joy the performer. We were watching Joy the person. And it hit, harder than a headline, sharper than a soundbite. This wasn't a dramatic breakdown. It was something more raw, more real. A moment, unscripted, unedited, unavoidable. And it reminded everyone in that studio and everyone watching that even the loudest voices can fall silent.
This wasn't just a roast. It was a detonation. What Gutfeld delivered on live TV wasn't a joke. It was a precision strike wrapped in sarcasm and dipped in venom. I don't even know who he is. That was Joy Behar's first swing. But Greg? He didn't swing back. He sliced. No shouting, no ranting. Just a smirk and a line that landed harder than a press junket scandal. Within hours, the internet went full meltdown. Memes exploded, clips went viral. Podcasts, panels, and late-night hosts couldn't stop dissecting it. Some called it a masterclass in restraint, comedy that cuts deep without drawing blood. Others said it was personal, too personal, that it went from political jabbing to character assassination. But that's where it got really dangerous for Joy. Because when Gutfeld stopped making jokes and started exposing the persona, people noticed. They pulled old clips, moments when Joy snapped at guests, moments where the sass felt a little too sharp, moments where the joke was just plain mean. Suddenly, her legacy was on the table. The queen of daytime snark was now under a microscope, not for her politics, but for her presence. And the question spreading across social feeds like wildfire, has Joy finally lost her edge? Gutfeld didn't just win a moment, he shifted the spotlight. And now, every eye was on her. Not clapping, not laughing, just waiting.
Said that Gutfeld talks about you all the time.
Who is he? Well, really, who is he?
I don't watch the show.
He has a show.
I don't watch the
never
show.
heard of him.
Yeah.
I guess he's just obsessed with me.
No. Next, Joy's going to say she's never heard of carbs. Seriously, her denial of knowing me is as believable as her red hair.
But obsession? I mean, come on, Joy. Where would you even get that idea? Like Joy Behar's face, it's looking worse and worse by the day. More full of crap than Joy Behar after a night of scotch at Taco Bell. Her being named Joy is like me being named ugly. Joy wasn't there on the show. Apparently Mondays are her days off when she feeds in the pasture. It now smells like a humid day inside Joy Behar's moo-moo. The motives stink worse than Joy Behar's jog bra. I mean, assuming she jogs. Oh, wait, there she is. She has a point. Maybe I am obsessed, but some people are obsessed with Bigfoot, and they don't get to see him on TV every afternoon. Terrible. Republican presidential candidate Tim Scott dropped by the Furry Five earlier today, and I thought the U.S. had a distinct policy against torture. He took the opportunity to call them out over crap Joy Behar recently said about him, specifically that he doesn't get systemic racism, which is like saying Brian Stelter doesn't get Ben & Jerry's. But Joy Behar gets racism after all. She's been black on Halloween. Yeah. But Joy wasn't there on the show. Apparently Mondays are her days off when she feeds in the pasture. But that is convenient, right? It's like one of my aunts dies every time Brian Kilmeade wants to hang out.
This wasn't just another daytime feud. This was modern media warfare. The moment Joy Behar said, "I don't know who he is," Greg Gutfeld didn't blink. He burned. With a takedown so casual, it echoed louder than the laugh track ever could. And the internet exploded. Clips hit X and TikTok like digital shrapnel. Fan edits, slow-mo reactions, YouTubers pausing the moment frame by frame. This ain't just shade. This is shattering. One post read, "Greg Gutfeld just ended an entire legacy with a smirk." But it wasn't just the roast that hit. It was what followed. Joy, trying to play it off, joking about not sharing a kidney with a Trump supporter, turned a moment of satire into something much darker. Even her fans started asking, wait, did she mean that? It was the kind of soundbite you hope is a joke, until it isn't. And Greg? He didn't have to clap back again. The damage was done. The moment had already turned into a mirror, reflecting everything broken about how we view personalities, pundits, and the need to always be on. Every second of airtime now feels like a fight for survival. The pressure, endless. The audience, hungry for blood. The format may be jokes and jabs, but this was gladiator combat with microphones instead of swords. And in the middle of it all, the one question no one wanted to ask: how long until someone actually breaks? Because when every laugh is laced with tension, and every clapback could go nuclear, there's no script, just instinct. And the next round is already loading. For decades, Joy Behar's mouth was her weapon. Sharp, unfiltered, untouchable. She didn't just host the conversation, she controlled it. But this time, she didn't land the joke, she became it. The woman who made a career out of cutting through tension with a laugh, got silenced by a smirk from someone she once claimed she didn't even know. And that was the twist no one saw coming, because Greg Gutfeld didn't yell, didn't interrupt, didn't go off script. He just let the moment breathe. And in that breath, she crumbled. You could feel it through the screen. The shift from dominance to discomfort. The irony? The very style Joy built her name on, snappy, confrontational, fearless, is now being used against her. Clips of her past jabs are resurfacing. Old episodes, old digs, old feuds, now reframed as something colder. Not wit, bitterness. And for the first time, the public isn't laughing with her. They're laughing at her. That sting? It cuts deeper than any joke she's ever thrown, because the punchline always had power. Until now. Now, the punchline feels like payback, and the audience isn't asking who won. They're asking if Joy Behar ever learned to take what she spent a career dishing out.
Their brains are small. But who's the dumbest one of all? True, none of them are in Mensa, but who's the most densa? Perhaps it's Sonny who mastered the art of making idiots look smart. Now The View could ask a mirror who's the lot, but that's only because they keep talking. Those hens are always clucking. They get to say stupid stuff for an hour every day, and then I get to say stupid stuff for an hour every day, except on purpose. But every now and then, one of those dingbats inadvertently says something that reveals modern liberal thought so perfectly it deserves further study. You know, like a weird serpent that washed up on the beach and you want to poke it with a stick. Do you think it's a good strategy on the behalf of The View to pretend we don't exist when we know they know we exist?
That's a brilliant idea. I do it all the time.
Yeah.
Gutfeld. I'm sorry, not ringing the bell.
Usually at the airport.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah. Huh? Really? I sit next to him? Really? How many? No, this is what elitists do who can't, like, if you don't know who someone is, how did you know to automatically hate him? Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, that's how fake and full of she is. Gutfeld, never heard of him. Don't like him. Why? Because why? That's why I just turned to one of my kids. Because why?
Yeah.
Because I don't know who he is. Never heard of him at all in my entire life. But why? Because I don't know. Because they are the last TV show to talk about high turnover. Mm-hmm. We've been rolling 3 steady for a long time.
Yeah.
We don't take breaks in the commercial to get away from each other. Well, that's what the drinking's for.
Yes.
She built her brand on being the boldest voice in the room, but now that voice is being questioned. Joy Behar has spent years dodging critics, dismissing backlash, and clapping back at anyone who dared challenge her tone. But this time, the moment didn't pass. It stuck, it spread, it flipped the spotlight back on the host, and asked the question, is Joy Behar still the voice of truth, or just the last one to realize the room stopped laughing? And Greg, he didn't take a victory lap. He didn't gloat, because he didn't have to. The internet did it for him. So here we are, not in a debate, but in a reckoning about tone, about legacy, about what happens when the sharpest tongue in daytime finally gets cut off by silence. Now the audience decides, is Joy still the icon she was? Or is this the moment we realize the crown was never hers to keep?